morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is that you're joining me for this video, thanks once again for clicking on the PenBoyRoy Fountain Pen Review channel. The subject of today's video is the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands Fountain Pen. I recently did a review on the Nettuno 1911 Tritone. If you want more detailed information, such as dates and brand history, check out that review. The link will be in the description below. You may be wondering, why am I doing a review on the Black Sands so soon, being that they are the same pen except the color? If that's what you're thinking, you'd be wrong. There's more than meets the eye when it comes to the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands. Stay tuned to find out how this model is different from the previous release of the Nettuno 1911 Tritone, and if said differences make this pen better or worse. That's all I have for the background information. Moving on to the neutral zone. Those elements about the pen that are neither good or bad, or can be good or bad depending on you. Right after this short commercial break.
Do you waste page after page when writing because your handwriting really sucks? Does your boss ream you out at work because he just can't read your sucky handwriting? Do your ideas get tossed aside like garbage because your handwriting sucks? Well, don't give up hope just yet. Thanks to the new Esterbrook SD, you now have all the tools you need to write your thoughts and ideas clearly and neatly. Looking for a raise? There is simply no better way to ask your boss than on paper with a fine fountain pen. By using your new Esterbrook SD, your boss will no doubt entertain and comply with all of your requests and demands with enthusiasm. And voila, all is right in the world. That is until he says, "But I'm gonna need you to shave."
For a limited time, get a free Proraso Shave Travel Kit, a $15 value with the purchase of any Esterbrook SD. Esterbrook, the right pen for the way you write. The nib is a stainless steel No. 6 Bach nib, entirely black in color to match the theme of the pen. It has a two-toned textured look made by the outer shoulders and edges being polished, as well as the interior being a matte finish. Beneath the breather hole, we have the brand logo of the N, as well as 1911. Underneath that, we have an F to indicate that this is a fine nib. The feed is a standard cheapy plastic feed that is used in many modern fountain pens today. The nib and feed are friction fit into a fixed nib housing inside the grip section. The grip section is made of the same acrylic as the entire pen, bearing the same matte finish. The grip has threads on the inside for the included threaded converter pre-installed in the pen. The threads on the outer part of the grip are one and the same as the grip and screw into the acrylic inner threads of the barrel. The barrel also has threads on the outside used for capping. Following the barrel threads is a small step, followed by a center band that is decorated with arch porticos. This center band is colored black as seen in the nib to keep with the theme of the pen. The rest of the barrel is a black matte finished acrylic with an engraving of Nettuno 1911 and Made in Italy on the center of the barrel. Towards the end of the barrel, we have another portico designed center band. After that, we have the end cap. This slightly tapered end cap can be unscrewed to reveal an alternative method of filling the pen. As in the Nettuno 1911 Tritone, this pen can be filled using the traditional method of removing the grip or by removing the end cap and filling as you would a piston filler. At the bottom of the end cap, we have a number engraved, indicating that this is a numbered edition pen, although not a limited numbered edition. The cap is made of the same matte finished acrylic as the rest of the pen and keeps in line with the theme of the pen. The finial is a dial with two waves in raised 3D style, colored black as the rest of the appointments of the pen. Under the finial are two rings that accent the cap. The clip is the custom designed trident clip with a raised 3D trident. It is tension fixed with a ball at the end, making clipping into pockets easier. The end of the cap has another band also colored black. The pen was packaged in a black branded sleeve. Pull off the sleeve, you have a black themed ice cream sandwich style box. The lid is opened by rotating the top like the hands of a clock. The ice cream center is a foam block with an hourglass cut out holding your pen. Also included is a booklet with brand and product information as well as instructions. That's all I have for the neutral zone. Moving on to the good. Those elements about the pen that are good. Starting with the way this pen writes, it's more on the stiffer side. There is less here in the way of line variation as opposed to its predecessor, the Nettuno 1911 Tritone. Now be advised, in the included booklet, this nib is described as quote-unquote highly flexible. I have verified with the brand owner that this is not a description of the pen's ability to offer line variation. This is actually more of a language barrier in the marketing material. The use of the word quote-unquote flexible should be replaced with the word versatile to express that this pen is a good writer for everyday use. The nib is very smooth. It is very well tuned and adjusted. It runs on the drier side, but not too dry that it kills any shading offered by inks with shading properties. Although smooth, it does have a slight amount of drag on the paper, and for me is a good thing as it gives a tactile feel of the relationship between paper and pen. There are no angles that catch the paper, and nothing about the writing experience is flawed in any way. I really appreciate the care given by the owner of the brand when it comes to the quality control of how the nibs write. Every pen is tested by Nino Marino himself before it ends up in the owner's hands. This is no doubt time-consuming and tedious of a task, but it is the difference between a mere business that sells pens and a lifelong passion of making one's art into pens. The balance is good whether posted or unposted. However, when it is posted, it feels slightly back-weighted. It's not very much, but due to how much posting extends the length of the pen, it should be noted that it is noticeable. Now, talking about the build. I love how well made the pen is. The threads are smooth and at the same time snug. I love capping and uncapping this pen with one hand. As I sit and watch TV, or stare blankly into space as people I don't care about speak to me while I pretend to care and take seriously whatever nonsense is spewing out of their faces. Another point worth mentioning is the material. On my review of the 1911 Tritone, I mentioned that the section and other parts of the pen made with the navy blue resins were more susceptible to scratches. That was because of the resin not being acrylic and also a softer material. Now, while I did love the design choice, I didn't love the fact that there were fine scratches developing just by virtue of using the pen. Capping and uncapping the pen created super fine scratches on the section. This is not the case in the Black Sands. Being that the entire pen is made from acrylic, the result is that the pen withstands any type of fine scratches that comes from use that I experienced with the Tritone model. I have to say once again, that the design regarding the clip is something worth pointing out. It is a unique design and gives the pen an identifying signature rather than a generic look. I also love how this pen feels in my hand. It is a solidly built pen and is warm to the touch because of its matte finish. The best way I can describe it is it feels like a Homo sapien Dark Age when it comes to texture. I'd say it's a poor man's Homo sapien Dark Age, but being that this is also a good chunk of change, I won't. And speaking of cost, moving on to the bad, let's talk coin. These pens have an MSRP of $395 and are discounted down to $316 at various retailers in the US. There's no real news here. If you want more insight into why the pen costs as much as it does and why it's worth the price of admission, check out my review on the 1911 Tritone. Is it a lot for a steel nib pen? Sure. Does it offer a lot for the price of admission? Of course. Is it worth it? Well, it's too early to tell without considering the ugly. Those elements about the pen that should not be, but are. My chief complaint in the review of the 1911 Tritone was something that is not present in the Black Sands. If you saw that review, you'll remember that I was slightly turned off by the light scratches that developed over a short amount of time on the navy blue portions of the pen, especially on the section where the act of capping and uncapping the pen caused subtle marks. Now, even though it was not a deal breaker, it was worth noting. In the case of this model, the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands, this issue is non-existent and therefore not an issue. So, in regard to the ugly, nothing here to see. That's all I have for the ugly. It's high noon, decision-making time. Should you or should you not pull the trigger on the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands fountain pen? As I said in my Nettuno 1911 Tritone review, my stance on it being a pen for the connoisseur of fountain pens still stands. It is a design that must appeal to the fountain pen virus infected individual. It is a steel nib pen that is priced high enough to be inaccessible to some, at the same time retains elements that make it worth every penny. Only in the case of the Black Sands, it is minus the minor ugly elements found in the tritone model. As a result, I maintain that if you were to get this pen, you will be more than happy with your acquisition. So, if you're into flat-top pens that are vintage-inspired and themed from the open seas, pull the trigger on this pen. But if you're not into flat-topped vintage-inspired pens, then this pen will be as appealing to you as a condom is to a eunuch. That was my review on the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands. I hope it helped. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Be well, be safe.